What is going on, everybody? This is TAETRO. As many of you know, I have been in South Korea. There's Namsan Tower right there, if you can see it. I've been having an amazing time with friends, amazing time making music. I want to show you a little bit of all of that in this video. And by the way, there's chapters listed down below if you want to just skip to the music making parts, or the vlog parts, or the painting parts. So without further ado, this whole trip started in Boston. This is my friend's cat. His name's Dr. Pickles. I painted this great portrait of him. Despite that, this is how he treats me.
Oh, I want to book.
Anyway, stayed at my friend's house before the trip, and I wanted to load up this SD card for my SP404 with a bunch of samples so that I can go out and do a bunch of standalone stuff. Awesome producer Mad Keys dropped an amazing sample pack. He's a great piano player, so there's lots of cool jazz chords. I also took a bunch of instruments that I created for myself in live and exported a scale, a C major scale with each of them, and dropped that on the SD card. This will come in handy if I want to make instruments on the 404 as well. But just like that, we said goodbye to Dr. Pickles, and we were off on our flight to Korea. It's about a 15-hour flight from Boston to Korea, which is the longest flight I have ever flown on. But not long after we landed in Korea, we actually ran into a YouTube celebrity. It's Joe from the Nick and Joe YouTube channel.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Joe.
And we're
Nick and Joe.
Welcome back.
South Korea is an amazing place. I stayed with my friends for the first couple of weeks in Itaewon, where we had this amazing rooftop view, sunsets, skylines, mountains, of course the perfect backdrop for our first beat performance video of the Korea trip. Hope you enjoyed this lo-fi beat on the 404. Alright, so before we go any further in this video, I want to talk a little bit about the gear I chose to bring on this trip, which you just saw me using making that beat on the rooftop. My main issue is I'm traveling with friends, we're having a good time, we're going different places. The purpose is not to go and me make a beat video. The purpose is to have a good time with friends, and if there's an opportunity to make a video along the way, I want to be able to do that. I do not want to have to carry my MacBook Pro everywhere I go, so I needed like a standalone solution. Most of the community wanted me to bring the SP404, and actually I was leaning towards that way anyway. It's a little chunky, but it's something I can still throw in my backpack. I also needed to bring a MIDI controller for when I did want to work on my laptop. But the MPK Mini plays specifically because it has those onboard sounds. So when I'm not using it as a MIDI controller, I can actually use it in conjunction with the 404. These two go hand in hand, because if I don't want to use the samples that I've imported onto the 404, all I have to do is plug this little aux cable in, one end from the MPK, the other end into the 404, and suddenly I can sample in my own ideas, play over the top of beats, etc. with the MPK Mini Play. So it's two birds with one stone. Great MIDI controller and also great standalone instrument. Even though the sounds aren't amazing, I can tweak them enough and then also manipulate them and resample them on the 404, which in the previous beat I did. The initial samples you heard were actually reversed and manipulated samples from the MPK Mini Play. I just tweaked them on the 404. One last perk of the 404 before we get on with the video is that it's got a USB-C port on there, as you can see. Now this USB-C port works a lot of magic. First and foremost, you can power the 404 with the USB-C port. Great, so I don't have to worry about battery life while I'm charging. But you can also have audio in and out with that USB-C port. So it is the perfect pair with my iPad mini. I run the USB from the iPad mini to the 404. Not only does that power the 404 with the battery life from the iPad, but it also allows me to use the regular recording app to record my sessions live, which is how I've been doing all of my sessions on the go. So that has been my go-to setup along the way on this trip. You're gonna see more of it in action, but first, karaoke. Of course, many of you know I took up the hobby of painting, and this rooftop isn't just great for parties and beat making, but it's great painting inspiration as well. And I actually want to do another beat session for you all, but as I make this beat on the roof, I'm going to take you all along on my painting journey I had one day. Took a walk along the Han River and found this awesome spot, like perfectly framed, the Olympic Bridge. So I just decided to sit there, try my best to sketch it out and do some painting. I'm by no means a great painter, but I thoroughly enjoy just sitting out and painting the scene. For now, I'll let y'all enjoy the rest of this beat session on the rooftop. So that was a prepared beat session on the 404, but now I want to take you all through a little bit of my process, actually making a beat from scratch on the 404 here. I'm going to start to chop up some of those Mad Keys chops here. Of course, we got to add some percussion, some acoustic percussion. Going for sort of a chill hop vibe with this one, because that's the vibe these awesome chords give. I really got to know the pattern sequencer on the 404 over the course of this trip. Being able to lay down patterns with samples, but then being able to lay down my drum patterns separately. I was constantly trying to get better at that. Once you have these patterns recorded, you can start to have fun and add more layers. and what I think the 404 is best at, these performance effects. At this stage, this beat is really just a sketch, but I really enjoyed just sitting out on the rooftop, jamming out on these chords. So we have another flight. The trip's not over, but we're heading to Jeju, which is an island off the south coast of Korea. We stayed there for a few days. This is a beautiful place. I think for many people, it's a vacation spot, but it's on the coast, and I took the opportunity to grab as many samples and sounds, field recordings as I could. And you can actually grab these sounds. I released them as a pack. The pack is free for members. It's only $3 if you want to purchase it outright. I mean, look at this amazing scenery. And you can tell here my camera is fogged up because it's so humid there. But of course, another great backdrop for another beat video. Hope you enjoy this one. Jeju, as you can probably see, is a really beautiful place, and that was only, one small area of the island. We only stayed there for a few days. It was kind of like a vacation on a vacation. So, we headed back to Seoul. And me and Joe hopped in a cab one night. Okay, and Joe and I acquired IU tickets, a concert we didn't know if we could get in because we bought the tickets secondhand, but we went to the concert anyway. We purchased the tickets, and what do you know? We got in. And also, we got this cool seat cushion. This was one of the most amazing shows I've ever been to. The production scale was amazing. She literally flew around the stadium in a hot air balloon. I can't play any audio for you because of copyright, but wow, this show is amazing. After we were done doing whatever exploring for the night or done at the PCbong, usually I would head back to my hotel, either sleep or be working on some music. And here's another process working on a beat on the SP44 that I captured from my Airbnb bedroom. This is later in the trip, so I had gotten a bit more proficient at working with the pattern sequencer, and I wanted this time to start with drums, because usually I either start with melodic or chord ideas, so this time I'm just programming a drum idea. This allows me to just
focus on the rhythm. But what I'm going to start to do once I have this pattern locked in is actually resample it and chop these drums even more. So now each part of the pattern is on a pad, so it can give me new rhythmic ideas. This is a bit like a MPC chop style, I guess you can say. Even better when we layer on top of that some properly sequenced patterns, like this straight up hi-hat pattern. So now, working reverse, as I usually work, let's lay some chords along with that. And of course, this is a TAETRO beat, so we gotta find a place for some vocal samples. Having all those samples loaded onto my SP44 in advance definitely came in handy this trip. I could focus pretty much on just making some music with what was already on the 404. And again, having the MPK Mini play with me means I can add in my own layers, solo on top of a beat. This isn't the end of this beat because I actually resampled it again, and here's what it ended up sounding like. This is like the entire beat resampled and chopped. This is a technique unique to the 404 for me, and it kind of unlocked some magic for me. And there was so much more to this trip than I can fit in a video on a music production channel. All I can say is I really enjoyed my time, even though it was a little scary traveling so far, probably further than I ever expected myself to travel. I can say that I'll definitely be revisiting Korea again. It's definitely a place I want to go back to. I had such a great time. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you made it to the end, I really, really appreciate you. If you want to comment and let me know who you are, I would love to know that. But I hope you enjoyed the music in this video. I'll be releasing some of the beat videos individually so you can access them. And if you like this type of travel content, let me know that too, because I can make that a priority for the channel. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. This has been TAETRO. Have a good one.